to another episode of Fresh Blurred Air. I am your host, Black Thanos, and I am joined by, I call them the Wrestling Collective. I was trying to come up with a name for the three of you guys all together instead of just doing one name at a time. So I just put the Wrestling Collective. This is a round table wrestling discussion. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Primo. I am here in the DMV. I am from the Sit Down Marks podcast. I saw the invitation to come in. I decided to come in and talk some wrestling. Glad to be here with you guys.
Yo, I am John, DMB as well. Saw it posted in there. I was like, yo, I love talking wrestling, so might as well. And here I am.
Yeah. Hey, fellas, I'm Todd. I'm also a DMV cat, born and raised. So when the Redskins were good, bad, and ugly, and and I am. So I've lived through it all. That's how old I am. But I've been watching wrestling ever since I was very young as well. So it's something I've enjoyed seeing, kind of the evolution of it. So looking forward to talking about it.
All right, thank you guys for coming through. All right, let's kick this off. Let's talk about the evolution of women's wrestling and how far it's come. So I come from the era of, I didn't really start getting into women's wrestling until the Attitude Era, where they weren't taken as serious as it is now. They were considered, if you go to a show, oh, women's match, bathroom break.
Yeah. So you could go back to when women's wrestling was more of a gimmick. It was less of an athletic contest, and it's not on the women. It was because of what they were put on to do. Like as far as the show goes, they'd make them do whatever typecast they wanted them to do for that show, whether it was in a pool or whether it was their clothes or whatever. So, but they've gone from that to what they have now. I mean, what a major transformation that's been.
1,000%.
I mean, honestly, my bad, man, my bad. Just honestly, I'm just saying, I agree with all that, especially because I'm going from the bra and panty matches and everything in between to what we have now, where they can legitimately show off their skill and talent. I'm all for it.
Absolutely.
No, and that's where I was getting at. I was like, they had gimmick matches when we were younger, bra and panties matches, like mud wrestling matches. Nowadays, it's like, because they got this perception of, because obviously we know, kind of Vince's indiscretions, we'll say, that have been alleged. So we know kind of how he viewed the woman in that regard. So that may have had a role in it, and he's probably thinking, oh, they're just noses and tits. But these women now can go. They are shutting down shows in a way that the men had not in so many ways. Like you look at some of the highest paid wrestlers, like within the top 5, like one of them's Rhea Ripley. She makes more than maybe 3 men. Roman Reigns,
rightfully so.
Yeah, exactly.
And then for since they have Shawn Michaels down in NXT and he's doing the scouting, he's got a lot. He's got a lot down there. Jada Parker, she's one of them. She's on the come up.
I think too, they've been doing a lot of college scouting, so they're getting a lot of athletic college people male and female, but a lot of the females coming in, you notice like Ivy Nile, she's jacked and she's cut up and everything. You get a lot of these really athletic females with gymnastics background, weightlifting background, all this stuff. There's the athleticism these days is unparalleled to what it's ever been.
Oh, 1,000%.
True, and I'm even gonna show some love to some of the partnerships because NXT and TNA putting more eyes on people like Jordan Grace. That's amazing.
Oh, yeah, that only kind of increases their brand, and the fact that you now have you have like a developmental system within WWE that trains and finds these women. Now finds them in the world of nil, which is a whole nother dimension for WWE to go now. So you've got, like you said, these major college athletes. You got Jada Parker, who is a Division I soccer player. Um, Kalani Jordan, who was a gymnastics for Michigan State, I believe. And we can just go. So Ruka is a phenomenal
Beast.
athlete. You
Mhm.
you can just keep going down the list of people who these young ladies who are doing these inhumane athletic feats, and you can only say it's because we've entered this new world of scouting, which I think Nil has a lot to do with, like the Nil like setting. Now that's kind of given another pool of talent for people to go, because WWE just used to draw from the bodybuilding circuit for the men and the women for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
That was where they got most talent. Now through their developmental system, they can now draw through the various college athletics.
Yeah, I mean, you remember the in the early 2000s? Who remembers the Diva Search? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm,
Oh yeah.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
and
things have
but that kind of
changed.
epitomized that. Yeah, that diva search again. That's that old setting of like where you're the gimmick, not we're not
Right.
appreciating your true athletic abilities.
True.
Mm-hmm. Because I remember when the old days of NXT, when people were called up, they dreaded that because a lot of people who came up through NXT and they went to the main roster, it didn't work out. And now that it's a different structure, now you're looking forward to like, okay, they're going to be good when they go to the main roster because they'll be more prepared.
And it's more so the fact too, you have a line vision between NXT and main roster. Before, you had a vision that Triple H had for these NXT stars, and then when they went up to the main roster, Vince could literally take it and just blow it up, like, and it was just
True.
like, this was working here. Why did we take what was working here? They developed it here, like
Mm.
the War Raiders had 20 different
Carrying
names, and
Cross.
like Karrion
True.
Cross. I mean, like, the level of
EC3.
the level
Oh
of
yeah.
fuckery,
Woo.
like in the way that disconnect in vision, happened, is one of the reasons why so many NXT stars just basically got screwed, as they went up
Rest in peace,
to the main
Sanity.
roster.
Oh yeah.
Mm,
Dang, yeah.
yeah, that's a sad one. Vanity, you know, yeah, there was a
They
few
were
of them. Yeah,
so
they were just
they were so good on down in NXT. Then they brought them up and they just floundered.
Yeah, I think a lot of that. So there's a lot of names that have survived just off their name alone, like say Finn Balor, Kevin Owens. But they're not only it's just their name, but they are awesome. Like everybody knows they're awesome. They have a reputation. Like some of those people would have been straight to main roster back in the day, but they were in the NXT and developed the Black and Gold brand back when it was Black and Gold, and but yeah, you're right. Yeah, exactly as you were saying. Like some of the people that were developed in NXT and they had that star power in NXT, as soon as they got to the main roster, it was like they had to start from the ground up again, and all of a sudden they couldn't even get their feet under them.
I think
yeah.
like one of
I
the
mean,
main things
and
was
very
that nobody watches NXT. Nobody watched NXT and they didn't know who these people were. And you're going to put them on the main roster and expect us to care about them, but we don't know too much about them.
Yeah, definitely. So like, well, yeah, you're right because back way back when NXT had it in its beginnings, it wasn't on USA and all or CW or any of that stuff. So you had to seek it out. If you didn't know, you didn't know. So these days it's a lot more accessible and it's a way more popular, and especially
True.
people knowing wrestling fans knowing what wrestlers have created from that. So
Mhm.
I think what Triple H did and now what Shawn
Mhm.
Michaels is doing, masterpiece there.
And let's move on to the impact of social media in wrestling.
Oh boy.
Good and bad.
Yeah, it's all of it. You got to take
prime
it in bed.
example. Ricochet.
Oh,
Hey,
helping build that
we
character.
only care about Samantha. We don't really care about we don't care about Samantha. That's the one we really don't care about. When he left, we were like, no.
No, we didn't just say no. We said, what about Sam? Where's Sam going? That's what we said.
Yeah.
No, that's why we said no, because we knew what was about to happen. We knew that she was next, and we just lost like an amazing, the GOAT on announcing, from our generation, So, but it's he's an example of kind of where that can go, and even seeing kind of how his fiance reacted to some of the backlash when she stepped away. We see how there was a lot of people who who will troll these wrestlers, and they will just bother them to no end on social media, when in reality, like I said, they're still like normal people like us, trying to make a living, and they do so by entertaining us and putting their bodies on the line for it. So if someone says, you know what, I think I'm going to step away from this, I mean, someone's away from the family 200 days out of the year. I'm not going to sit there and like begrudge them that. Do I miss these people when they go? Hell yeah. But, still, they go, you wish them well, but other people just can't seem to escape their own view of the world in their own four walls and see that side of it.
Absolutely. So yeah, no,
True.
social media has bad positive and negative impacts on professional wrestling. You think about it's helped extend feuds, or even make feuds more popular. Even as recent as, think about when Woods and Kofi kicked out. Well, they didn't kick him out, but they told off Big E. Next thing you know, his girlfriend is hitting up, Kof and Woods on social media. So there's that's helping the feud. But then again, on the flip side, you think about, people need to take away social media from wrestlers in AEW, because those guys,
Yeah,
a
they
lot of
don't.
bad stuff happens over there.
They just need to
that's
not respond to certain things. But if you say to take it away from them, they need to take it away from Tony.
Yeah, well, I agree.
Because Tony ain't no
100%.
better.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
Tony kicked that off.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they go. As long as Khan's there, they're gonna follow their leader, and Khan has shown that he will say what he wants because he got money. So he just kind of says,
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I think one person that has benefited from social media is Drew McIntyre.
Oh, he's great.
Hater of the year. Yes.
Yeah, he's great.
Oh, 100%. He is the troll of the year on the internet, and he's used that to elevate each of his feuds. And you think about where Drew McIntyre was the first time he stepped into WWE. Nowhere near the physical specimen he was. Clearly thought he was owed something and acted like it. He didn't train. He didn't bust his butt in the gym, and then all of a sudden it was taken away from him. And he went away for a while, and all of a sudden he came back. He was in better shape. He was more focused. He was attentive, and he had this avenue of social media too to promote himself that he didn't have when he first stepped on the scene as the chosen one.
That's a big aspect. Promotion.
True.
Exactly. And so now he can take these feuds, how much he hates CM Punk, how much he hates anybody who helps Roman Reigns, and he can just blow them up. He can take his friendship status eneminess with frenemyship with Sheamus and blow that up, and it just kind of goes on and on and on. And even though he still has the physical gifts and the talent and the mic to do what he does, though.
I think in the beginning of social media, I think the first one that actually started was Zack Ryder.
Oh yes, yes.
I mean, he was the internet
And he
champion.
was the,
Yep.
I guess, part of the,
Mhm.
yeah. He was the
Man had
prototype of,
arenas chanting
I'm
his
gonna
name.
Oh yeah, I mean, and you think
gonna
about it,
get
he was like
my
a
name
mid-tier
over.
type. He was, you know,
Another one, you know what? A
yeah, he was
really funny
mid-tier, and he
one,
used
That's
really
like an
funny
example of,
Twitter account that rest in peace was Iron Sheik. That dude was hilarious. I don't know if you guys ever saw his Twitter, but some of the
oh
stuff he
yeah.
said
Yep.
oh my gosh.
Man,
Anytime.
one of the
I
ultimate,
think anytime he
one of the
says that,
ultimate heels.
it always came back to Hulk Hogan.
Yeah,
Mhm.
man, even
He
his
talking
last
about
tweet,
it
dying
always.
breath.
Yeah,
right.
Wow, that's the last thing. Those are the last words he wants to leave you with, and it was. It's,
let's see. Next topic, we got the art of promo cutting. Back to Ricochet.
Aha! What is that?
I mean, Ricochet. I
I
mean,
was I went to the I was at the AEW show when it came here, and I guess that was the first time he, I guess, introduced that, and I was just looking. I was like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Yo, don't have no mic, please."
There's that clip floating around of him whenever he went back to NXT with Mello and Trick,
And
and they
he's like,
throw him
"Oh,
the mic. He's like, and Trick's like, "Don't hurt yourself."
he's got a mic."
I mean, yeah. I mean, because clearly among the three of those, we know who it goes Trick one, Mellow close second, and somewhere in the back of the closet is Ricochet. Like this, I mean, which is sad because the athletic ability he has is like second to none. But you put a microphone in his hand, it's like, that's why I
And
made that face when you said that. We said it's
and
Ricochet
here lately,
promo.
like the backstage interviews with him and Swerve. I mean, Swerve just destroys him on the mic. Like,
True.
I mean, you could tell people who just are that, because people on the mic separate themselves so well from even the closest people. Like we talk about this within the WWE, Jimmy and Jay. Who's a better mic promo? All of us are going to say Jay. I've watched him cook.
Mhm.
Cook Roman Reigns,
oh man,
cook
oh my
Braun
god,
Breaker, cook
that
Drew
was the one.
McIntyre. And
Yeah,
the one with Braun Breaker, when he cooked him, I literally fell out of my chair.
right. Told me he was gonna dog
He's
walk
like,
him. Yeah,
I'm a dog walk your ass. I was like, and he said, might be short and sweet like your NFL career. I was like,
Like,
oh,
True.
got
True.
him.
I mean, yeah, man. The Raiders
Taking
didn't want
shots.
you. I mean, so yeah, and then so there was definitely there's certain giftings that can, and that promo ability will elevate you to a level, even if you may be on the physicality, maybe like, Jay Uso ain't knocking but anybody out in a bodybuilding contest. We know that, but he still has physical abilities that are very, very exceptional. And he grabs a mic and the crowd reacts whenever he steps out
Mhm.
there. And that's the thing. You have to be able to elicit a reaction. And that's the gift. That's when you have the gift of promo. Like, and it has to be some type, even like Bray Wyatt, God rest his soul. Like every time those lights would go down and all those flashlights on the cell phone went, you listen, you were just fixed on him every time he spoke.
Besides Ricochet, who is somebody that you can't stand when they're on the mic, like talking?
Chris Jericho. Nowadays, Jericho.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
back in the day,
well, that's Jericho.
loved him. Yeah, loved him back in the day. Whatever nickname he's going by now as Ring of Honor champion and everything, I need him to take another break. He's good when he takes breaks and comes back after a while. But constantly seeing him right now, I don't know if it's part of the gimmick, but yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you who had a big come up was Roman Reigns on the promos. Yeah.
From them
yeah,
Suffer and Succotash days.
Oh, Suffer and Succotash.
Oh yeah, that was. Yeah, those days were.
Mm.
He had the
He
worst.
learned his lesson when John Cena fried him.
Yeah. He says
Yeah.
it's called a promo, kid.
You got to learn that. You got to learn how to do one. That yeah. What in his early days, I couldn't stand him when he picked up a microphone either. You know,
I think
But
a
it
lot
was
of it
one.
is that authenticity, like that we
right?
can, as wrestling fans, even the casuals, like you could just when somebody's fake or when they're trying to push it too hard, like
Mm-hmm.
if some of them isn't coming through, then we really don't bite.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%. That's part of the ability. Like one of the things, like there's a reason Brock Lesnar had Paul Heyman talking for him all the time, because if Brock tried any of those lines,
It's
any
not
of
working.
no, it ain't working. We know you're a big dude. We know you're an asshole. Like, but
Mm.
it didn't vibe for me. I needed to hear, ladies and gentlemen. I needed to hear that before I was going to listen to
Yeah,
anything else, because I knew if he had a microphone, I'm like, oh.
I think like his one of his worst sound bites was he said, "Let's do this."
That was awful. I mean,
Oh my gosh.
the thing is too, certain people, like, for example, the people who can make fun of themselves very well, like Kurt Angle when he
Mhm.
was in his
Oh
prime,
yeah.
and he's still,
Mhm.
your ability to laugh at yourself and make yourself the joke too. Like that's what R-Truth does right now. That's kind of his thing. Nobody can stay in character when he's around. It's impossible.
He is
That's
so
his.
good.
That's
True.
his.
It's
He said that's his
impossible.
job is to break everybody.
He broke Brock Lesnar, and there was a bet that he couldn't break him,
Yep,
and he did.
that was amazing.
Mm.
That dude
Yeah,
will that dude will have me belly laughing. He is so funny to me.
mm-hmm. No, just
Before our truth, there was Santino.
Yep.
Ah,
Yeah.
good one. Good one.
Is when he
Oh,
did
yeah.
an interview, he talked about. He said that was his thing was to break people. He said he broke John Cena, and when he had the interview, he's like, "Look here, John Cena."
John Cena.
Now every time when he goes and talks to fans, they say, "Yeah, we can't call him John Cena no more because we call him John Cena."
And it's his childhood hero now, so it's always quite incredible. And then the bit where he was in the Judgment Day and not, all that. That was also
Tom and Nick
hilarious.
Mysterio.
Yeah, that was it's like Tozawa. Yeah,
Right.
Triple H. Triple H couldn't stay together. Like
True.
his boss
He
couldn't
said,
stay
I see
together.
what you guys are doing. Triple H and Shawn Michaels. We was talking to DIY.
Talking to DIY, yeah, and he's like, no, like what? I mean, the other one who used to break him a lot when he was in the Bloodline was Sami Zayn.
Sammy, yes.
Just
Oh
remember
yes.
very
Yes.
Oh yeah,
the Usi moment.
very
I still
Uzi.
go look at that moment and just the level of pure greatness that was, is that the fact that you can tell Jay is done. You can tell Roman is trying so hard to hold it together, and Jimmy is hiding in the back. Like, that's literally what's happening.
Every time they go, they
Yeah.
Yeah, he goes this. Like he's doing this, he's doing this.
The only person who wasn't breaking was Solo.
oh
I mean,
my gosh.
even he's gotten Solo to break a few times too.
A couple times, yeah.
I love you, Solo.
So low. Now that's Jacob, he's great. Like
I mean,
he's
Solo broke with Tama on at the Netflix premiere thing. Like it was like, yeah.
that dude.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, crawling around the cell like a Mario character.
True.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
That was
When he
waiting
did,
for
I was
that
like,
theme music.
I was like, what the hell is he doing? And then he tried to pin him.
Yeah,
Yep.
He tried
Yeah.
to pin Jay.
Yep.
Yeah.
I said, why does Tama Tonga remind me of like one like a beginner boss before you get to Solo?
He is the right hand man, so that would make
Right.
sense actually. So, I
Hey.
mean, no point. Yeah. I mean, when you're the son of Haku, then you're not exactly going to be like a. You're not going to be normal. Sorry, it's not
Right.
possible. That dude was insane, like just legit scary.
There's like stories of him using his wrestling move on people and it actually
Hmm.
working outside of wrestling.
Yeah, a few bar fight stories I've heard. That yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's talk about the role of managers and valettes.
Mm.
I mean, we talked about him earlier, Paul Heyman.
True.
You know, if you're labeled as a Paul Heyman guy these days, like that's a great thing on your resume. Like CM Punk, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, all greats. But you know, obviously, Paul Heyman has been there, done that for a long time. He's managed so many people. Then you got other people like Bobby the Brain Heenan, Teddy Hart. You valets. You have Sister Sherry. You have Lito back when she was with
Essa Rios.
yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Hardy
mean,
Boys.
they all play a great role.
Who was the
Particularly if
the
you're one of
worst?
those people who can't talk, then the manager helps. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yes.
especially like you are an imposing character, but your mic skills suck, like Omos.
Oh my gosh.
Or yeah, that'd be an example. Yeah, he can't. No, never give that guy a microphone. MVP was perfect for him. Would be an example. That's a great example. The other thing I would say too, in addition to you could have mic skills, but you not communicating may be critical to your character. So
Yeah.
before Dexter Loomis joined like this, the Wyatt Six, part of his
Mm-hmm.
character was to not say a damn thing, and we were just like, "What's wrong with him?"
Yeah,
So that's an example. That would be an example of someone like he talked through pictures and stuff, but things like that during that time. But so there's a time also if you're the person who can't speak because it would destroy the character you've developed. That's when the manager becomes very popular for you.
so I think even when Batista started, it's like Ric Flair was his manager, almost like his manager, because he did most of the talking because he probably wasn't comfortable enough to start talking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we
Fellow
go back to
DC
those
man.
old days of Paul Bearer being with Kane.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, before
You
he
know,
got his the little thing on his neck.
yeah, exactly. In the end, and so that's perfect because that's an example of someone who like literally adds to the character and the mystique of the Undertaker. You hear that, oh yes, and then all of us like nuts. There's of course again when you're a Paul Heyman guy, you hear, "Ladies and gentlemen," that line hits and everyone's like,
True.
"We're
And then
done.
like
We're
when he
there."
does it, it comes out of nowhere because he doesn't have any music.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And it
That's
hypes
also
the
that
that's an
also
instant
adds to
pop for the crowd.
it adds to the effect. Honestly, that's part of what makes it so like eye popping. So hey, look at me.
And I also think when Brock left and went to UFC, he learned how to talk because he had to talk on his own, and he learned how to talk. And so when he came back, he really didn't need Paul Heyman to talk for him.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I mean, sometimes you can end up getting better on the mic, and sometimes you just never gonna have it. But as far as Paul Heyman goes, like you think about, for instance, Paul Heyman, Bobby the Brain Heenan, Teddy Hart. You think of all those great managers, and you can immediately think of a list of superstars or legends that are associated with them. So they've all done great work, and it's usually them that's a lot of those superstars, male and female, can attribute part of their career to them, to the manager. To that promotion, to that hype from they get from the manager, to the help winning those titles.
Mm-hmm.
Another
True.
great example from kind of when we started watching wrestling, Yokozuna, God rest his soul. He, hit Mr. Fuji, and of course, even though we know, like, Yokozuna, his real name was like a Rani Onawahi. He was playing a Japanese guy, but he's a Samoan guy. But he
Right.
had Mr. Fuji there talking for him, literally talking for him, because his character was such that he had to be this mean, shouting, like, like a guy from Japan, like sumo wrestler who just did not communicate.
And let's move on to behind the scenes of wrestling promotions. The places where fans are really not supposed to see. That wraps in with kayfabe as well.
Mm-hmm.
And back then, when kayfabe was, a thing where you're not supposed to see what's going on backstage. Everybody is supposed to hate each other, but they mostly like each other. They mostly friends. Now with the boost of social media and all this other stuff and YouTube, you got people that's maybe enemies, and they friends on on X and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you think back to like 1987, like late 80s, when it was real as far as bad guy, good guy, heel, babyface. They weren't even supposed to dress in the same locker rooms, let alone like, hang out in public together. And next thing you know, you got Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Iron Sheik getting pulled over together. So it's like,
Yeah.
you're like, wait, these guys can hang out?
And obviously, like I said, some of the best like feuds have kind of combined some real life ish with like some that is made with brilliant storytelling. The fact of the matter is, CM Punk and Seth Rollins do not like each other. That has been well documented for a long time, but they know that with that they can turn that into something that can tell a story. That's an example of one. So, and even this whole idea of like people back in the days, and even the Undertaker talk about this, he was so protective of his character, of the mystique of his character. He it was so sacred to him. Like he wouldn't post for pictures, he wouldn't sign autograph. I mean, like he was just. But now you have like the Wyatt Six debut, and they take a picture in a Whataburger
Right.
after. They would have, if they did that in the '80s, that would have been a situation. Like that would have been a problem.
Yeah.
They already punished. You saw what they did to to Triple H when they kind of had the episode where Kevin Nash, like, they were off the air, but they kind of like embraced and
The
begrudged.
click hug.
Oh, the curtain call. Yeah.
Curtain call.
Yeah, the curtain call, and then of course and of course Vince punished him, said you're gonna have to eat shit and like the taste of it.
Right. Somebody had to take a fall. It wasn't going to be HBK.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
Speaking of behind the scenes, let's go to AEW and what's it? The fight heard around the world.
which one?
Good point.
I mean,
All of them. All of them.
yeah, I mean, you have Punk and the Bucks, then you have Punk and Jack Perry.
And MJF like blasting the microphone and getting it turned off. I mean, like what what else you got?
yeah.
I mean, like there's just the level of teenage bullshit I see on AEW, which just makes me go, like, it's the reason why they are essentially like the bastard stepchild that nobody, like, we just watched them and say, hey, you could have been that. And unfortunately, and that's what they've done to themselves. They did it to themselves, for how they run their company, for the way they carry themselves. They have no one to blame but themselves.
Just like, all right, let's touch on the backstage scrum with Punk and the Bucks and multiple people. It shouldn't have even really came to that. It's like you telling me I couldn't just hash it out. It started with Hangman going off script, and that should have been that should have been nipped in the bud as soon as it happened. Because wait a minute, this is not what we talked about. Now you talking about workers' rights and all this other stuff, and you sitting there getting mad because talking about your friend got fired when I had nothing to do with that,
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the difference between
and that just made it a hostile work environment.
yeah, I'm not
Yep.
so I might have given Punk a little flack during that. Not like that exact situation, but at that time, but looking back on it, I came to realize that it's because Punk is used to being a professional. Regardless of what's happening, he's used to being going out there and doing business, right? So all that
Mm-hmm.
personal, high school bull stuff, he ain't trying to mess with, and that's what happened. So I think that when it came down to it, the Bucks and all them, they weren't being the most professional, especially as EVPs too.
Mm, right. No, you
Like
hit it on the
when you
head.
make a segment where part of your show is, oh, we're gonna air the footage of this incident, that's petty for no reason.
Mm. And part of the other issue to consider is I think the reason we jump on Punk to very quickly is because we know what type of person CM Punk is. He is someone who is just, certain people just drama follows them around. And that has been his shtick from the rooter to the tutor of his career. It
Yeah,
just happens to be wherever the bullshit is, he finds
He's right
himself
there.
right
that's
in
what
the
I
middle
said.
of it.
Yeah,
Yep.
I was one
Like
of
you said,
those. I was one of those that said if he's in WWE for more than 6 months, then I'll change my tune. So yeah, that was one of
well,
them.
no, but you're only going off of what someone has, no one should begrudge you that because you're only going off the evidence he has given you over years and years and years, of, you know, was some of it valid and some of it, with some merit? Sure. But at the same time, if drama follows you, people will start like looking at you sideways.
And even with the Jack Perry stuff, that was he was already checked. Like before that even happened, he was already checked out before they even had, was it Collision or Rampage, that was supposed to be his show.
Collision.
Right.
Oh,
And he's saying
Yeah.
he was saying that we don't do that stuff over here. He talking about he wanted to do the break the rent a car, the glass window, and he's like, that's stupid. You know, that's gonna mess it up for somebody else. If we try to rent a car from that company, they're not gonna rent it to us because you broke the window. And he said he like, I want to do that, and he's pretty much cursed everybody out. And they was telling him no. So of course they come to Punk because he he's the man in charge, I guess, because that's supposed to be his show. In his mind, he's like, I don't want to do this. I was like, I don't want no part of this. But he's like, I guess I got to go in there.
I mean, he knows it's stupid without a cause. Number one, and you got it. You're just gonna do that for no reason, you know. But also, touching on what you said about Collision being Punk's show. I mean, how crazy is that, right? They had Punk and FTR, like, and some other people specifically on Collision, and then the Bucks and other people specifically on Dynamite, so that they wouldn't cross.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
But it's like they could have made money out of it. Even like Punk wanted to do it. He wanted to turn it into it because it would have definitely made a lot of money to do that whole feud.
I
But the
agree.
Bucks said no, they weren't down with it because they don't want to sit in the room and hash out their problems.
That no, they made. Now they could have. If you, I mean, if you could have just been grown men, you could have you all could have mutually benefited, and
Yeah,
and
could have
that
been great
is,
business.
oh yeah, y'all could have mutually benefited, but nah, y'all on some petty ish. So
So what do you say? He said they couldn't even manage a target.
that sounds right.
And look what they got going on now. Nothing. what's this whole thing with Moxley and his crew, the Death Riders? What's the end game?
True.
I don't know.
Like
That's a
what's
good.
like,
Yeah.
it's like they say that if you want to take it back to where it used to be in the beginning, where where everything was good. It's like, okay, so what's the end game?
Right.
Are you
That's what
ever
I'm
going to
saying.
lose
Yeah.
the title? Like, who's going to take the title off of them? Nobody.
Mhm.
Mm.
True.
I mean, unless you're trying to do a cosplay bloodline version of with Mox, then I don't see the I don't see the value for them
I
at
like
least.
I like that. What's that? Mina Shafir. She's getting some FaceTime. I'm glad because she wasn't doing too much. I'm glad they added her in there to give her, to get her out there because she wasn't doing anything. She was just another woman on the roster.
Mm.
True.
And then you got Pac. He's only there because Death Triangle was dead.
Mm.
Which was an interesting pairing anyway, but they were awesome. But it was just an interesting, like, odd couple situation.
Sometimes people just try to throw things together and make it stick.
They're
And
like,
then,
"Oh, you guys can fly around."
Now you got
and
Pac being with the Death Riders, and you got the Lucha Bros having their own AEW drama. So
Right.
Well,
Refusing to let
now it's
Phoenix
just
go.
not yet. He
Right.
ain't gone yet.
That's what I'm saying. They're
Mhm.
refusing to let him go. Yeah.
It's like, oh, you got injured, so I'm going to attack on another year to your contract. So I'm gonna sit you at home, and you're gonna be collecting a check. I mean, on the hindsight, that's great, but then on the bad side, that's bad because you're not out there wrestling.
Mhm.
Pretty much being held hostage, and you can't do anything. He's definitely pulling a Vince McMahon move.
which he said he wouldn't do when AEW started.
Like, I'm not gonna be like Vince. Lie.
So you're telling me that a billionaire son said he wasn't going to be like Vince McMahon? Let's say that, everybody, say that slowly
Right.
and
No, true,
think.
true, true.
Think
Yeah.
seriously. Like,
No,
what,
I
what, do-
mean, yeah, when it comes
like, what do
down to
people
it.
expect? Like, yes.
Yep.
The thing is, I mean, I don't know if they're like
Yeah, fix it.
they just don't see it
And then Penta, he's not
or
gonna
they don't
sign
care.
with nobody.
But I think it's both.
No,
Part
some
of the
people just
issue is
they
when
like
you
some
are.
don't see it, and some people don't care.
I mean, when your family
Mhm.
owns the Jaguars, you're probably not gonna care anyway. So they're used to
True.
sucking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah. They used to just be getting a trophy for coming around.
Right.
And right, that's why like AEW sits there in mediocrity with their storylines not making any sense. They got some incredible talent they had no clue how to use, and they are basically wasting away. They're wasting away some great wrestlers, and they're about to piss away their business soon. Like, there's no way they can keep
even,
going like this.
even though they got that TV deal thing or whatever that they was looking for, it still ain't going to do anything. It's still really not going to amount to anything.
No, and
Just take
and the one of the
control,
beautiful.
take creative control away from Tony.
Yeah, and and just like Vince, when you are that powerful, you are unable to accept when somebody just might have a better idea than you. That was one of the
True.
things with Vince. That's why Shane was gone for a decade. Because it was to a point where when Shane would recommend something and Vince thought it was a bad idea, he became just so incensed
Oh
and
my gosh.
ridiculous.
Shane tried to get him to
Yep.
invest in the UFC.
and
True.
he's in now he could have had that
You have,
much earlier at a much lower price, but but
and now UFC pretty much owns them.
Right.
and I think
Mhm.
that there was a great poet and deep thinker by the name of DJ Khaled who had a phrase for a moment like this. It was when he said, "Congratulations, you played yourself."
Yeah.
And let's move on to classic rivalries and storylines. Something that AEW don't have.
Mm. Yeah.
Closest they got is what, Hangman and Swerve.
Oh, that was great. That's
That's all they got.
he
That's all they got.
burned down that man's house.
And the kid, I mean, what do the kids say now? Mid. That was mid.
Mid. MJF mid.
I have to
Oh,
talk to
let's
my
not talk about MJF. No, it's
no, I gotta talk. I have to talk to my nephew about the new sayings now. He now
Yeah,
10,
right.
so I'm
Yeah, I mean, I
what-
got a 13-year-old. I try to keep up with it.
oh yeah,
No,
mid.
classic rivalries. You can go all day. You can go.
oh
You can.
yes.
You can go. Savage Steamboat. You can go Savage Hogan. You can come up to these days to Roman and Rollins. You can go. You can go in the Austin Rock. You know what I'm
True,
saying? You can
true.
go Edge, John Cena, Edge,
Hmm.
CM Punk. I mean John Cena. Excuse me. Yeah, and Cena and CM Punk. I mean, I just saw recently that Jeff Hardy said if he ever finished his career in WWE, he'd want to finish it with another rivalry with CM Punk.
That's
I
interesting.
mean, they could do
That'd
that.
be,
Shoot, they
that'd
got
be an
a
interesting
good
one,
crossover.
particularly
Yeah.
when you consider like all the struggles Jeff Hardy has had personally, with sobriety, and CM Punk, like his whole thing being straight edge. That there's an interesting something you could kind of play with that, and kind of that could develop into something. I'm not sure if they would take it deeply personally or take it to deep respect levels or like, something like that. But
Yeah, I
one
mean
way or another, usually take it somewhere.
that's kind of what happened in 2009 when Jeff left the company. Back then was CM Punk kind of they did the fire you lose your fired match,
Yep.
and that was part of the story.
Mhm. Yeah, and would they go back to that route? It could, I don't know, but I just could see two methods right there. And of course, the shirt I'm wearing right now, like the story of the years has been the bloodline. They have, Roman Reigns has basically been a linchpin in so many stories. Yeah, every single story. You know, Drew McIntyre hates everyone who teams with him. Cody Rhodes finishing his story. He stole him and the Rock's WrestleMania main event. I mean, and then you go and we can keep going through the list of people. You've got excuse me. You've got different people he's beaten, legends he's beaten, and for some way somehow he finds himself connected to these stories in some way. Seth Rollins being his former Shield brother somehow gets looped into, hey, you want to be in the War Games team, and he's involved in the finish of WrestleMania. Yeah, he and his family have been the beginning, middle, and end of so many storylines and found
Hmm.
themselves in so many storylines, whether intentional or unintentional. And that is the brilliance of the storytelling with that group.
And to be honest, to piggyback off of that, I'm gonna say honestly, the Bloodline has done the one thing that a lot of factions throughout the years could never do. NWO, ODX, Corporation, all of that is hype up the entire group.
Yeah.
Every member has benefited,
Mm.
which is something that, but outside of say maybe the New Day, and that's about the only one that can actually say that.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah,
So,
that is a great point. Actually, you think about we didn't know Jay or Jimmy as anything other than the Usos. Now we see both of them, and we see both of them for their unique talents and kind of the role they play within
Yeah.
that. We couldn't have
Hmm.
seen that before. We never
What
did.
what
No.
Jay say? Jay said they used to just look at me and say, "Which twin are you?"
right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Like I mean, and the gift, and that is like I said, that's an example of like I said, he elevates it. He elevated everybody.
Sure, even Sammy.
Oh yeah,
Yes, yes.
I mean, someone who's not in the Inoue family, he got adopted in. He Sammy Uso.
Sammy had an IC title run, and then after that, he did that jackass match at WrestleMania, and that's from after that's
Right.
whenever he got into the bloodline. So I mean, he's kind of he was steady there for a little while, but being
Mhm.
aligned with the bloodline really put him back in that highlight main event scene. So and it's always even most recently when he realigned himself with the bloodline, the OG bloodline. Um, New bloodline can kick rocks. But anyway, when he aligned himself with the old OG bloodline again, it's like now he can always call back to that. Now he's always an honorary member of that family. So
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
yeah, I mean it did elevate him too.
And of course, the UC moment, like the level that is, it still gets sprinkled everywhere to this day. That moment we talked about it earlier. It's still like Sammy Uso say that was Usi, or like it's, and so his ability to incorporate into that storyline so well too is also something that was very unique with the how the faction was created. Because before it was just simply based off this dynasty of family that basically had run wrestling for decades, and somehow he finds his way in as an outsider who comes in. And the thing
Yeah,
is, the outsiders, the one who's been the outsider connects with that, and they're like, I get it.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what made that storyline just stick.
Yep. You had Jay at the beginning. You had Jay wanting to reject him. At he
Hmm.
like, no man, you can't come. This is our family, like bloodline, literally
Yeah.
blood. Get out, bro.
Yeah.
So, and then eventually him and Jay become the tightest. So it's a whole. I
Hmm.
mean that story, the bloodline storyline.
And that
So
is also
it's been
the interesting.
So I think like even when they came back, I don't know if anybody saw it when Jimmy and Sammy was doing their little handshake, and Jay was in the corner on the ground doing the same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, he's doing the same thing. I caught that. I caught that shit. Like when I was watching, I was like, "He's not. He's not. Oh my lord! He
It
seriously is
was
laying
great.
down." No, it was great TV. That's great TV. Definitely, no question. It's the way it was connected, because I think one of the things writers know how to do, and this is where I make it a little deeper here, is because they know how to connect to different people's human experience to whatever level, and that's what makes this the makes us keep watching the story. Like when Stone Cold in the Attitude Area, we've all wanted to curse out our boss. You know what I mean? Like the DX area, we've all
Yeah.
want to tell our boss to suck it. You go to The Rock, you've always wanted to have that one liner and be the one that women just fawned over. Like you go to like, and we could just keep going on. You go to Sammy, you were that outsider, but somehow got let in. And I could, Cody Rhodes, you were someone who just tried to get away from your family name, so you could make a name for yourself. They know what type of story and what type of person they're trying to get to listen to their story. And that's what makes that's the brilliance of the people who write this.
Let's step into the role of commentary and how that's played a almost like a bigger role now.
yeah. I mean, you think about. I mean, if I close my eyes and think about some of my childhood memories of highlights from wrestling, I have Jim Ross's voice in my head, right?
Yeah.
So, they're broken in half, or by God, that's a slobber knocker, like all that stuff, Crimson Mask,
Mhm.
all of that stuff
Mhm.
it stays with the history, it stays with the moments. They are literally the ones that emphasize and make the moment what it is. When Michael Cole said Miracle on Bourbon Street for Daniel Bryan,
Mhm.
they their timing and how they emphasize certain things, they can single-handedly ruin or put somebody over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. The gifting of these commentators to, like when Mario Ronaldo like left, I thought he could have been that next one, but just didn't work out. It wasn't happening. But there's certain people, like I said, you hear JR's voice, like, oh my god, oh my god, like we all hear it, we all remember it,
They used to,
And
for some reason, I think JR, he really hated Triple H. He hated him with a passion. Triple H,
oh yeah,
you son of a bitch.
Son of a
You son of a bitch.
that son of a bitch.
I like
You
how we
right,
all
man.
how we all knew as fans that that JR and Stone Cold were friends. Like, well, we know that he's got his back.
Mhm.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
then of course you have Michael Cole, who now is that next level, and then you have Pat McAfee, who is just has no internal dialogue whatsoever. So everything
True.
he does is a gift. Whether he's yeeting on the table, whether he's dancing in Nakamura, like just and it brought life into Michael Cole again. You could tell him being with Michael Cole. Michael Cole has missed 4 shows in 26 years. I'd be tired.
Yeah. I mean, Michael Cole's awesome. He and now you gotta, we all gotta admit that once Triple H took over, and you could really tell the gloves were off with Michael Cole, that he's let loose a lot more.
Mm-hmm. And the reality is too, with Triple H being that the boss that he is, that not only is he shown the brilliant creativity, but he cares about his talent. Talent has time off during the holidays.
Yep.
Vince would have vomited at the thought of that, like literally vomited. But Triple H actually cares about his employees. So
Even
the fact that they know that is also what allows them to do their job with a certain level of freedom as well.
I think Randy spoke about that, and it's like he was saying, he was like, yeah, I had like hurt my back pretty bad, and I needed to take some time off or not do as many dates. And he came to Vince. Vince pretty much told him, so what? I still need you.
Father Time gets us all.
Right.
That's his exact words.
Mm-hmm.
Father Time gets it all.
So you want me to die? You would rather have, you want me to die on your watch? But wait a minute, didn't that happen? Didn't
yeah.
a lot of people died, and somebody asked him in the interview, he's like, oh, that's not my problem.
Ugh.
He's like, that's not my problem.
Yeah. That's rough.
When you have that level of callousness towards your talent, people feel it, and you can in the locker room feels it. The strange thing about Vince was, though, if you were one of his boys, if you were his dude, like he would rock to hell and back with you. Like, for example, like that the whole like the Mankind Undertaker Hell in the Cell match. Like one of the things he was like, thank you for what you did for this company, Mick Foley, but never, ever, ever do that again. And he like sent him away to take time, like the whole thing. Like, and of course, his relationship with the Undertaker, it's well documented, but again, it's a very complex picture. But the reality is, the talent did not feel cared for. They did not feel valued. So people like the commentators, like the wrestlers, the people who set up the ring, who do the audio, who do the video, did not feel like you could just feel the burden there.
Yeah, like a culture change.
Oh yeah.
Let me get back to Pat McAfee. You remember his first match?
It was Adam Cole, right?
NXT.
Yeah. A lot of people was talking about like, oh, this is it. They was thinking that when he did the WrestleMania thing, like around like that was like probably his first match. Like, no, it wasn't.
It was NXT. NXT. He went down there and Pat McAfee is an athlete, so he can do some stuff in that ring. So, granted, like obviously his personality and his ability to just literally have no internal dialogue is what makes him gold, from the microphone standpoint.
Yeah.
They pretty much let him say whatever the hell he want to say.
Yeah.
Just as long as he don't cross that line.
I thought I thought he was going to get close. Like it wasn't in wrestling when he was on College Game Day and Lank came up. You know, that was the moment I thought I was like, someone's going to die. Like someone's career is over. Someone's getting fired. It's getting blurted out. They're kicked off the air. It's all done. He's never coming back to WWE. It's all, I thought that was it.
I do like how he's been able to
a naysayer no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
that's what we all thought.
Pat, and then Pat was like,
that's what we all thought.
That's not what I was thinking.
That is not what I thought. And then, of course, Joey Galloway and Desmond Howard are done. Kurt Herbstreit had no idea. They had to tell him in the commercial break why they were all laughing. But that's an example of how someone who has no internal dialogue, who literally is just saying like, and you can feel what he says, and you're just like, they're just like, they're
gonna let that happen.
Yeah, they're fixed on it.
What do you say? Bum ass Baron Corbin.
Bum ass Baron Corbin.
Yep.
Yeah, I like how he's done the crossovers though too. Adam Cole came over to the Pat McAfee show and trashed the set a little bit. He's had He's had Brock Lesnar on. He's had Sheamus on. During this past WrestleMania week, excuse me.
They were in Philly. Yeah, he had the show in Philly.
Pat was on every day in Philly. Yeah, so that was cool.
Mm-hmm. I mean, when he had Rhea Ripley on, he said like lotion sales have skyrocketed in Philadelphia since she got there. And
my God.
I was like, it's noon, dude. It's noon. You can't say that.
Right.
Look it up. It's there. And Michael Cole was next to him. And Michael Cole just was like, oh.
There's one time, I forgot who it was. They returned or something. And it was him and Michael Cole on commentary. And Michael Cole goes, oh, and then Pat McAfee goes, shit.
Yeah. That sounds right.
It's like pretty much saying, I'm gonna say it for you.
Right.
Yes. It's like I'll pay the fine.
Who's yeah. Let's talk about heels and faces. Who's the biggest heel right now of 2014?
New Bloodline. New Bloodline.
I thought it was Dominic.
I was going to say, I give it to Dom.
Well, Dom. Well, I don't know. Biggie, at New Day.
I'm about to say Kofi and Woods right now. But.
I mean, it just depends too.
Hammered.
It depends.
I guess if you're talking about heel in terms of what's the one people are paying the most attention to, it's the New Bloodline. If you're talking about the one who gets the nastiest reaction, it's Dom and it's the New Day now.
Right. Dom hadn't been able to talk on the mic for 2 years. Like,
oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
and he went nuclear when he dumped Rhea. So, and this dude's living in some kind of fantasy world, going from Rhea to Liv. I mean, good for you, Dom. But
I mean, how you gonna be a heel and turn heel more?
Right. That's what I'm saying. He went to the next level.
He became a bigger heel.
A super heel.
He was already heel, and he just became
a
super heel. He's the
I like when he says he's a 20-year vet because he was on when he was a kid.
I mean, I guess.
But I mean, as far as it, you could also say that if you're, somebody that's one of my kids' age, then you might say Kevin Owens because of what he's been doing to Cody Rhodes lately. I mean, if you talk to one of us who's seen the 10-year storyline of the New Day, you might say the New Day. It really depends on which audience you ask, I guess. Or if you ask somebody like me who likes heels, I like what the New Day did. I like what Kevin Owens is doing. You know what I'm saying? But as far as the biggest heel right now, who can't talk on the mic is Dom. And I agree with you. Who is, elevating their game as far as heel status right now? It's got to be probably a New Bloodline. Yeah, I agree with that.
Especially when it comes to the New Bloodline, and you keep telling people as soon as they come out, before they even get on the mic, they already booing.
Yeah.
Before they even pick up even say anything, as soon as they stay in the ring, boo.
Yeah, and it's but what you said, Primo, is the kind of the fact that these particular heels that can't even talk because they're so hated. That's like the
I think
next.
what's the name had that. What's the name? Baron Corbin had that
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
when he was what's it, Constable Corbin,
Constable Corbin.
and
Yeah.
Constable. Oh yeah, that douchey character. Yeah, nobody. I, he could not reinvent himself more if he was schizophrenic. I mean, like this dude had like 20 million different like the bum
Hey,
ass
bum
girl.
ass Baron Corbin has some more mileage on it.
Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
I think
I would never,
that was the best Baron Corbin when he had that one shirt with that
The
mustard
dirty
stain,
shirt.
that dirty shirt.
and he just and he had the after fro because all the hair was here and it all went in the back. You know,
Yeah,
it was
Right.
the after fro.
Then you
but
got
I think yeah,
tweeners too. People that are supposed to be heel, but they're so
they're
damn
not.
cool that everybody loves them.
Hmm. I mean, the
I
example of
think like
that would
who?
be.
I think what's the name is on that list? What, Finn Balor?
Uh,
Yeah,
I
for
might
me, yeah. I
say
mean, I can see that.
I would say Mello to some degree on a mid level because if you look at Carmelo Hayes, you have someone who had that vibe of being a heel, but also had that coolness of being a face.
Right.
That was what
Right.
made him
Mm-hmm.
like. So when he turned heel, he had to stab his friend in the back. So but he could do both. That's someone to me who could be a great heel and a great face because he
Yeah.
has the elements of
He can
both.
do both.
Very few people have that, but that ability. He's one that I think is uniquely positioned in that realm. I mean, I would have said Damian Priest while he was in the Judgment Day too. That's an example of someone who had that coolness to be a face, but that pure evil metalhead look to be a heel. So that would be another.
Oh, you mean what did they call him? The bisexual Undertaker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
They hit him with that. Yep.
That was vicious.
I mean, a lot of the Stone Cold's work, he was supposed to be a heel, but I mean, we love him.
True.
Randy Orton, he's one of in my mind, Randy Orton's one of the top 5 heels ever. And he is just, you could make me hate that guy. So
But now
I
he's
think,
turned into. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead. What you were about to say is so true.
That now he turned into a face, but he has, again, this is an example of someone who had the ability to do both. I think we think of him as a heel because we remember when he came in as this cocky 20-year-old, like who's a third generation superstar who thinks like, the shit don't stink, and now you have the 20-year vet version of him who is more reflective and enjoys, which again, I think they're just taking what is true to life for him because he was out for 18 months and blending it in with, kind of the character now.
Right. But
Sure.
we still know, don't turn your back on him.
Oh yeah,
Oh
he
no, no,
will.
no, no.
No, he will. He's a viper. And what do vipers do?
Now, who would you say is a face, but they work better as a heel?
That's a good one.
Punk.
Oh.
Punk is an excellent heel. He's a good face, but he's an excellent heel.
Hmm.
Same with Rollins. Rollins is a
Yeah,
good
I agree
heel.
with that one. Yeah.
Rollins is an outstanding heel. Not a good. He is an outstanding heel. He knows what to say. He knows what to do. It's so instinctive for him, I think, though, too. That's what makes him, I think, probably someone who's an outstanding heel, as opposed to like when I think of CM Punk, though, I still think of him as an excellent face. The reason being, if you had this mentality of straight edge, voice for the voiceless, these type of words that have been associated with you, they stick. Those are things that stick. They don't just randomly go away. So he's always been seen as that type. So because he had those labels, I think it's harder for me to view him as a heel, even though he just attracts drama and wherever he goes,
Yeah.
in terms
So
from the backstage standpoint, you know what I mean?
you look at his talk about the straight edge thing. One of his biggest heel monikers was Straight Edge Society. Um, he literally has straight edge tattooed on him, drug free tattooed on him. Cool, all that's cool. But the whole thing, the mindset behind that was, I'm straight edge and I'm better than you. I'm better than each and every one of you out there in the crowd. Because I'm clean, my body's clean. In my mind, I'm better than everybody else. And he would remember he was shaving people's heads, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
No, I do remember that. That's a fair point. Definitely that ability. You can take that and turn it heel. The ability to be the less common, so to speak, in that mindset. The fact it is uncommon, quote unquote, to be straight edge, is what is which is what makes the face value more attractive to me. Because the ones who are a little bit, like, for example, the thing that made Daniel Bryan such an amazing face was the fact that everyone thought he was too little. He was a B+ player. He's not the big guy. He can't do that,
Mm-hmm.
And everybody was like, oh, yes, he can. And everyone to this day on Bourbon
Right.
Street doing that, we all were. So the way it's the hardest thing to do, actually, Triple H mentioned this, the hardest thing to do is make a face. It's nothing harder in wrestling than to make a face. It's
because it's easy to get people to hate you.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's a very intentional thing you have to do.
Prime example.
That's it.
MJF and The Miz.
Yeah.
Well, Miz is a horrible face.
Miz is someone who has a face. We know that about him.
Mm-hmm. Even if they were trying, even when they put The Miz as a face, I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for him to turn, because it doesn't last too long, because he's not a believable good guy. He's better as a heel because it's easy to hate him.
Right. He's known as that slimy guy.
Yeah, it's
true.
Everybody. It's so, like, again, punchable face. Mm-hmm. Like, that's just literally what he has. Every time you see him, I'm like, you're just like, screw that guy.
Same as
you don't know what it is sometimes.
Because he started off as a heel. He's always been heel. Then when he became a face, you just look at them like, nah, you don't need to. You don't need to do this. You need to stay.
I'm not buying
stay as a heel. Like, no, you're not. You're not believable. Just like Adam Cole, he's better as a heel, but they got him playing a face right now.
I don't know. He's an awesome heel.
That's you go back to I'm gonna touch back to what we were talking about earlier behind the scenes stuff. See, this is whenever as people we learn things about wrestlers that maybe we shouldn't know. So like I'm a gamer myself, so I follow people's gaming streams. I follow Twitch and stuff like that. So when I see Adam Cole streaming video games, and he's such a sweetheart in real life, and then you try to see him try to be a heel on TV, I'm like, I'm sorry. I see, I seen him be so nice to these kids on, video games.
And that we talk about that, how nobody is really protective of that character anymore. Like I mentioned again, Yokozuna, God rest his soul. We all know that, even though when the camera came on, he was a mean guy, but we all know that was the sweetest human being that God could have ever made when he was not, in character. Like a giving, caring dude, like, and everybody had stories about it, from everybody. So, but they don't do that anymore. Like, and even now, right now, you take the New Day with this lovely heel turn, and obviously we know that, of Xavier's gaming expeditions. How's he gonna manage that? He's probably gonna stay. Is he gonna turn into an asshole on the games? Is gaming? Probably not.
I don't know how they're gonna fix that. I think like only person that could still use it was Kofi. I don't know if y'all seen the Christmas picture he put up with his family.
Yes,
Yeah.
He scrubbed his mother out.
man, that's terrible.
Man. Time out. First of all, for a West African man to scrub out his mama from a picture, he probably had to call her and explain this. Like I'm
Right.
telling you right now, that was not. She would call him up and be like, "My son was supposed to have me in the picture, but she did not." You know, it's just it's gonna be a bad. It's gonna be rough for him.
I think he ran into that when he was doing the wrestling and he was supposed to be Jamaican. And I think like one reporter was like trying his hardest to like, you're not really Jamaican. And he was digging. He called his mama and Kofi had to call. He said, Mom, this person's gonna call you. I need you to pretty much lie and say I'm Jamaican. She's like, no, I'm not gonna lie.
No, that sounds.
And then he had to pretty much drop it. And then I think it came out on TV and Triple H put him on the spot. He's like, hey, ain't you supposed to be Jamaican?
Right.
But hold on. But a couple problems with that whole bit. He's supposed to be Jamaican. You named him Kofi. That is the most Ghanaian name. It means you were born on Friday. That's what Kofi literally means in that country. And being in the DMV area, there's a large West African population. We've met a couple Kofis, you know. So the fact they tried that with that name was just like, y'all don't know nothing. That's not gonna work. No one.
Hey, it worked. It worked for some years.
I mean, in my head, I was just
it worked for a long time.
My brain was already true, but my brain was. I don't know why this may just. I think my brain was already going off like, what is wrong? And that's kind of like with the promo that he had with Randy Orton, because they had backstage heat too. You know, they don't like each other. And remember, he said, I didn't have to fake a Jamaican accent, throw pancakes, or shake my ass. You know, that was some. You know, there was things he said about Kofi, and again, I never understood that direction for him. You know, when he first started. You know, I said you could have stayed true to. You could have stayed true to the West African roots, and you still would have been able to do a good number of things with the character.
I think they was trying to do the whole Jamaican thing, and if he would have did the regular stuff, I don't think it would have came off well. It wouldn't have came off good because nobody's like, who is he? Like nobody ain't really paying attention.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
I thought it was weird how I think so. It's different when somebody comes into the WWE or starts in the WWE with an accent, right? And then drops it off. But it's weird to me when somebody has an American accent, then suddenly adopts a different accent, and then goes back to their American accent like Apollo Crews.
Apollo Crews. Oh, sorry.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Oh god. True. Very true.
Commander.
Speaking of gimmick, it's not. Speaking of gimmicks.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Speaking of gimmicks, Apollo Crews. He could see the future at one moment. At one point in NXT, he was an up and coming, athlete, and then you had, of course, him going back to his roots, if you want to say that.
Right.
And then there's Commander Aziz, who he's part Nigerian, he's part like Belgian or something like that, and he's like 20 feet tall. Like I forgot what his name was, but
Babatunde.
Babatunde. Yeah, that's about as Nigerian as it gets. It's like, yeah, Babatunde is the name. Yeah. But yeah, that just didn't work for me either.
Right. He come out with the staff.
They did not use one drum. No drum was used.
True. Oh, the Nigerian drum fight. Yeah.
He's like, a Nigerian drum fight. I'm like, hey, no DQ. This is nothing. You're not.
Like, why?
You don't even know what this is.
I just thought it was weird. Like he woke up today and has an accent now. Like what happened?
No,
But
no, I mean,
to
so, oh, go ahead, Jay. Jay. Go ahead.
no, I just want to say
I
real
think
quick,
that the
just to
worst,
jump back
the
on
people
someone
who had
who
their accents. Go ahead.
no, some I just want to jump back on the
No,
whole
go ahead. Go
people
ahead.
of being natural heels. I got to give it up to Bray Wyatt, not just on the amount of energy and everything. I just got to say, almost every one of his promos, that tinge of truth against whoever he was facing was beautiful.
Mm. My
Absolutely.
my
Yes.
my favorite promos were when he was preparing. Actually, my favorite promos to watch of him was when he was preparing to face the Undertaker. That was about as you could tell there was such a passing of the torch because he wanted to be that next dark, mysterious character, you know,
Mhm.
and he literally even he would even say like when he came out the first time he came out of the casket, he was like, I remember when I saw his face and the feet and he just would go and he's literally contemplating when he was a child watching him as like on the TV, that's what he's doing there.
Then like with Bray Wyatt, you can't even say he was. You can't even put him in the category of face or heel because he was both. It was whatever feud he was in or whatever road he was going down. He's just gonna be all right. I'm gonna be a face. All right, I'm gonna be a heel. I'm just gonna be in. He was pretty much in the middle.
Right. I think we all just accepted he's creative genius.
And that was the beauty of him and the frustration you saw with like how working with him because it
Yes.
could go like he could go in 50 million directions, like and like no one could keep up, and they're like, whoa, time out, hold on,
True.
Mm-hmm. He will should sorely be missed.
Absolutely.
God rest his soul.
Yeah.
Just such a gifted young man.
Last thing we're going to touch on. Let's talk about hidden gems in wrestling.
In terms of wrestlers themselves or promotions or
Promotions, wrestlers, and like people who don't get the recognition they deserve, or something that's not. It's like a 5-star match that's not mainstream. Some stuff like that.
Mm.
Mm-mm. Interesting.
I mean, I think we talked about it earlier. A lot of the stuff that the OG Black and Gold NXT did, that a lot of people didn't get to see. People should go back and watch. A lot of stuff when Finn Balor was there the first time. Sami Zayn, um,
True.
you know, Shinsuke, Samoa Joe,
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Owens. Go back to NXT and rewatch a lot of that stuff. Undisputed Era, like
Mm-hmm.
NXT was amazing back
Oh
then.
yes. Yes.
When the Undisputed Era was incredible with the way they just each one of them was just so technically gifted in the ring. But
Mm-hmm.
obviously, like I said, we all know Adam Cole when he picked up a mic, you can make you say like you can be like this guy's a douche, like and that was his gift,
Another person that, of course, they're not going to talk about because he's everything that happened with him. The Velveteen Dream.
I agree on
Yeah.
that one.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I mean, from Capitol Hill, Washington D.C. I mean, I loved his gimmick. I thought it was like we all know it was like if Prince was a wrestler, but we knew he
Mm.
was physically gifted, but we knew he was a complete and utter nutcase and asshole. Like we knew that from Tough Enough. We
Right.
see him in independent circles. We knew that he was a character issue, you know. And as much
Mm.
as they tried to get him to grow up, eventually, your talent got you there. Your character will keep you there. And guess what? He fell off a wagon because he had no character.
Or like somebody who didn't get to shine enough. They were there. He was in WWE for literally like a blink, and that was Austin Aries. Like
Yeah,
Mm,
he,
he
his
he,
yeah.
he his own self,
Mm.
his whole shtick
Mm.
of him being an asshole got him fired.
right.
Not
Mm,
just from WWE, even from when he went back to Impact. It's just
Yep.
mm,
his whole character and personality inside and outside the ring. It just did not work.
yeah. Mhm.
I think he
Agreed.
was
And then,
fighting John Morrison, and then the finish of the match, he did his move or whatever. And as soon as the match was over and the thing went off, he got up and walked out.
Yeah.
Like no
mhm.
soul
Yep.
did nothing.
Wow. I mean, you got to be a pro, but I mean, and sometimes people just don't know how to, you know, be happy for anyone else. And like I said again, the physical talent was there, but again, you're dealing with someone who's the fact it took this long to get, to get like Jacob Fatu into WWE is, you know, insane to me.
Dude was
This
MLW
guy,
champion for a
is
while.
Yep.
he's I think when Corey says all the giftings of the entire bloodline, we're watching it. We're watching insane athleticism from a man about my size. I'm about 250. There's, like just insane athletic feats
Yeah.
and a motor that doesn't stop. Like,
Mm-hmm.
are you going to get tired? He's just still running back
When
and
you look
forth.
at people like Jacob Fatu and Keith Lee,
Oh,
uh,
Ivar.
Ivar, all good
Ivar, yeah.
examples. Like those guys should not be able to move like that, but they do.
No, it's the physical
Mm-hmm.
giftings there, and the fact Keith Lee is an example of someone incredibly mismanaged. When he was in WWE, and it's so
Bearcat.
sad.
Yep.
Yeah, what the? I knew what he was trying to do. They were trying to give
Mm-hmm.
tribute to one of the first black wrestlers in the company, but
Yeah.
it all fell flat.
Not whenever
He
he
knew
was just so over in NXT as what he was doing.
Yep.
exactly. He's moving like he's 360, moving like Rey Mysterio. Like, who does that? Like that guy, he should get his shine for all the matches he did in NXT. Definitely. Like one of my
Even when they
favorite
did the Survivor Series thing where it was SmackDown, Raw, and NXT.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was like,
Actually,
y'all should do that. I was like, y'all should just
absolutely.
continue to do that.
Mhm.
Why was it like an unspoken wrestling? Just it's like every wrestling fan just
No, that was incredible.
we all
That was
knew.
incredible.
We all knew, but didn't really say nothing that Bobby Roode was like TNA's Triple H. And then once they got together
Yeah.
in the ring, when Bobby Roode and Triple H locked eyes in the ring, we were all like, "It's happening!"
And it was over.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was over
Yeah.
like that.
Triple H can suck it. Like, you know, you know, definitely. But those are some great, gems there.
It's a lot of just like TNA should have been dead a long time ago, but they won't die.
I think
Apparently.
their ability to team up with NXT though is what saved them too. Like, who knew Joe Hendry truly, like, until they gave him that time, and you just saw like, oh wow, the crowd reacts to him,
Mm-hmm.
and he can move in the ring, obviously,
Yeah. Yeah. When are we gonna get Moose in the Rumble?
True.
yeah,
Oh man, it's
That
gonna
has
be
to happen.
epic.
It could be.
that aspect.
I definitely see Joe Hendry showing up at the Rumble next year.
Well, it's like,
Oh.
say his name and
Yeah. That first time when I was in St. Louis in 21, whenever Mickey James came out to Hardcore Country,
Oh wow,
the roof blew off. It was crazy.
wow.
And then she came out there with the title.
Yeah, she
They
came
call
out with
her
the
the
TNA
knockout.
Knockouts
Yeah,
Championship.
she
Yep.
did. Yeah,
I was like, oh, I don't know about this.
Mhm.
I was like,
She didn't care.
it's kind of weird. But now they got
Not
that
care.
they got that mix now.
Yep.
Mhm.
I think it's because of Triple H and them allowing that. They pretty much are doing the crossover how AEW should do the crossover.
Right.
And you
Yeah.
did
Right.
first, but we're going to do it, but we're going to do it better.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the thing.
Is there only
No matter what
crossover is, like,
AEW
the New
does,
Japan.
WWE is always going to be like, all right, kid, sit down for a minute. I'll show you how what you just did. Let me show you how you could have really done it.
You're like, hold my beer. Yeah.
Right.
True.
Because just like what's the name? He took off overnight. That's the name, Trick Williams.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
I
I mean,
mean,
like I think part of that is like the way the he was so over with the crowd, and then of course like Booker T just
Oh,
you know
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, whoop that trick,
yeah,
everything, like the music, number one when he came in with Mello, everybody you could just look at him and see how athletic he is, and we all knew this guy he's gonna be a main event player. So as soon as
yeah.
Mello turned on him, that was it. Like that was
Mhm.
his. He's stick the rocket up his rear end. He's getting shot to the moon.
Oh yeah, that was the moment, and I think in many ways Mello like wanted that for Trick, so that's why when that all happened, he was like, yeah, I'm down.
Mm-hmm. Then you got who else is on the way up? Obafemi.
Oh
oh
yeah.
Oh
yes.
yeah,
I
Stevie
definitely
Mister.
see him dropping that title. I see. I'd see Trick about to lose
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I kind of agree with you there.
because soon. But he got and I think what's the other guy? The third man that's in there. I forgot his name. He was smart. He said, "Yeah, I know who attacked me. Me." So I didn't have to.
Oh yeah, I saw that clip. Yeah, yeah.
And then I had looked down. So once he finished saying it, I thought I was like, "Damn,
That's kind of smart.
that was smart."
Yeah.
That's what Jade should have done. Who did attack Jade, by the way? Who we thinking? Was
Oh,
it Naomi or was it Bianca?
I
man,
think
it's leaning.
it's Naomi.
Yeah, it's leaning to Naomi. I'm
Gotta be
just
because she took her spot, right?
yeah.
I was
It's
thinking it
Naomi.
could
I
go that route or it could go the best friend route, with Bianca. But either one.
like the only other
Because he's
way I
not
can see
going.
that going any difference if they bring someone in from either
Right.
NXT or whoever has a contract expiring. But
Yeah,
yeah,
Who
right
if
now I'm
you
saying
if
Naomi.
you look at like who can you bring in? What are you gonna say,
I
Charlotte?
mean, who I don't
They better not
maybe
say
that
Charlotte.
would be the only one who could.
They better not. They better
Look,
not
here's
pick
the thing,
Charlotte.
though.
She's got to come back
Here's
sometime.
no, hear
Is
me
that
out
going?
now. Look,
Is that going to be her way back
hear
in?
me out though. If you have, I mean, if you have somebody, if you need somebody with the star power to elevate Jade and kind of give her a feud on a map, who else better, really, honestly? Not that we want that to be the way she gets back, that Charlotte gets incorporated back in, but the reality is they already had a face off already. So the seed's already been planted. This industry plants seeds for us all the time. All the times where Solo was looking at the Ulafala,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
we knew.
We go back to
We knew
talking
what
about
he
backstage stuff again. When Triple H first took over, this was one of my favorite things that he was doing and still does sometimes. Whenever they would do backstage interviews, you could be watching the backstage interview going on, but
And it's something happening in the background.
right, exactly. Over
Mhm.
Yep.
there's
Yes.
something happening. Watch that too.
Mhm. Right. No,
And
and
like,
that's
well,
again,
something
that's
like
like
this
brilliant.
recently happened. Something happened this week. They had I think Seth Rollins was talking. He was talking, and then you see Drew McIntyre in the
And
back
Sammy just
walking, and Sammy just come out
Yeah,
the side of the
exactly.
screen.
Yep.
And you're thinking
We
like,
got. Go ahead.
it's like you're thinking like, oh, is he going after? He's about to attack from behind. Like, is Drew about to attack my man from behind?
Because
And
the way he was looking, it's like Drew was going at Seth Rollins, and then here comes Sammy.
True.
So did y'all see the Netflix Raw trailer? So we
Oh.
basically confirmed that Becky's coming back.
Yeah,
Yep.
She's in the trailer. So
nice. I mean, it's about time. I mean,
she's been out for a minute.
yeah, women's wrestling is better when she's around.
Yeah.
Like, there's no question about it.
Just don't put her on the mic.
Her mic skills are.
All she's gonna say is, so in such and such town, the man is in your city.
Exactly.
It's gonna be a problem. It's gonna be buffering. I know it's gonna be some buffering.
Man.
I guess we all have PTSD from that Jake Paul fight, so we're
Yeah.
ready for
Man,
we're ready for that bullshit.
they
As
had a
the first
trial run with the
episode,
NFL last weekend, or last week.
That was a much better
yeah,
experience, obviously.
I think
Right.
I think they was ready. I think they was ready this time.
and I'm pretty sure that I mean, you may have mad boxing fans, mad wrestling fans. Who would you rather deal with?
We're kind of crazy.
Yeah,
Yes,
we will drive to Netflix headquarters, all being like singing Seth
will.
Rollins' theme song as
We will
we're
pull
like
up.
ready to
We will
take
pull
them
up
out.
on you.
Like wrestling fans are some of the
Oh.
craziest people.
True.
I mean,
Very true.
literally, I've watched like wrestling events at different bars or different like places that will show them, and literally, it's crazier than any football crowd, any sporting event crowd I've ever been to. Like they are going nuts like the whole time.
They ain't playing.
Nah.
I will
When I
never
went to
forget SmackDown I went to, and somebody's son was being bad, so she pops him in the lip, and I was like, "Oh, okay." He starts bleeding, and everyone around just starts chanting ECW, and I was like, "What the hell is wrong with everybody?"
Wow.
Oh my god,
That's amazing.
that's fucked up.
when I went to what's it, WrestleMania in Miami. This is back. This is when they started doing I guess on the ring post where there was like the tall structure,
Yeah.
and they had the palm trees, and everybody broke out in the chant said, "Fuck them palm trees."
Yep. That happened at
That sounds-
So whenever I was in St. Louis for that Royal Rumble, the WrestleMania sign caught on fire. And everybody was like, the sign's on fire.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Man, I mean, like us, like I said, we're a rowdy bunch. We'll
Right.
drive up to Netflix headquarters. We'll be singing Seth Rollins' song as we do, or you're gonna see, or you're gonna see a bunch of ones get pointed out of sunroofs, and
Yeah.
that's just what we'll do for our product. That's how we rock. We rock with it,
True.
It's like another wave of fans being crazy. I went to an event, and I was like, I was like, yo, I don't think that thing with Dom Mysterio, them booing him out the building. I was like, I don't think that's real. So when I went there and it happened, I was like, oh shit, this is real. This is real. They really booing him.
Yeah.
This ain't it ain't fake. It ain't piped in.
They do it
So
everywhere.
it's like,
Live
"God
events too, yeah.
damn."
Yeah.
You earned that heat. Biggie took
Like,
some
only
of that
way he
heat.
can get his
Like,
stuff is
the
he gotta
New Day
start
took some
yelling.
of that heat for that.
Yeah. Right now they the ones they on the level of they probably number one being booed as soon as they come out. They better not come out to that New Day music. They better change that music.
No, I think they had. I saw something on YouTube where they had a different version of the New Day's like theme music. I don't know if they're gonna like be bumping it like when they come out now, but I saw it posted on like on YouTube. Like it's a whole different beat, a whole different vibe. It's not the whole I'm throwing pancakes, eating bootios type shit. It's it's definitely got that hit hard like middle finger up vibe.
Yeah.
Because they have to. They can't come out to
The switch
the
up.
same.
The switch up like the Usos.
If you're gonna,
Yeah, exactly.
if
Yeah,
you're
you
gonna
can't
follow through, you better follow through.
exactly. I mean, they've already. I mean, you've kind of made the bed now. You gotta rock with this.
Usos went from face paint and haka to day one ish. So like
Yeah,
True.
Yeah. And Jay
that
is
was hilarious to me, knowing
the
like
Yeet Man.
that the long line of wrestlers they come from. So
right.
I was just like day one what? Day one what? Day one checking my credit score. What are you talking about, man? Like, are you? I don't know what you mean.
Because before, like when I didn't like the Usos, it's like, yeah, Dave winning. So I was like, why y'all dressing like y'all black? Y'all not black.
Mm.
Why y'all dressing like y'all from the hood?
They
Y'all not
they,
from the
they, they,
hood,
they
though.
learned from their uncle when they told the story of seeing Yoko on the TV, you know, and as
Yoko.
kids, and they were watching him. They're like, he's Japanese. We're Samoan, but he's Japanese. That's not Uncle Rodney. Come on now.
the rap battle with the New Day.
That was just a.
True.
I mean, Wale, you know, respect, you know.
I
Another
wonder.
great.
I wonder who. I wonder who wrote their bars.
Right.
Mm.
Don't get all rated R like your boy Xavier.
Oh no.
Yo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as when they said, because that just came out. That had just came
Oh,
out.
yeah.
And he put in there. I was like, oh, that's cold.
I mean,
That's
when
cold.
people get cooked on the mic, it's always just pure gold. Like watching that happen, watching that rap battle happen, I was like, in my mind, I was like, this is either gonna be really bad or this is gonna be like on YouTube and everyone gonna watch it.
Yes.
I think that's still one of the most watched clips ever.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
When they say you wasn't nowhere until your wife put you on Total Divas.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
All right, fellas. Look, I gotta head out, but hey, man, it's
All
been a
right,
pleasure.
let me go ahead
Yes,
and
sir.
shut it down. All right, I want
All
to
right.
wrap up this episode. Do you guys want to plug anything before we get out of here?
No plugs from me,
Not this
fellas.
time.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Primo from the Sit Down Marks podcast. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Anytime you want me to come back or any of us talk, that'd be, I'm here. Let me know. Next episode for me is January 9th. So if you guys want to tune in there, I'll be sure to shout out this pod and you guys there as well.
Cool. Thank you guys for coming through. This has been a successful episode of Fresh Blurred Air. Signing out.
Oh,